Are you back?
Yes.
Okay. He had to change his cameras again, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Alrighty. Well, welcome once again to another edition of Quoth Raven News Program. As you can see, I've got my co-hosts, right sit head. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but oh Lord. we should just put you in a jar.
Pickled head.
Yep. Jar head.
There you go.
Yeah, and he knows what that means because he's ex-military.
Yes, I do.
And of course, we have Figaro, John Morse as well. So, anyway, it is Thursday. I mean, this is Comics Review Night. We're glad John's here. We didn't know if he was going to be. He's, well, got some issues health-wise.
Yeah, he was having some issues, and we're very thankful he can join us tonight. So,
As am I.
Yeah. So, let's go ahead and start getting into the reviews because we want John to be here for the whole thing if we can get it. So let's start with Chris.
All right. This is I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, number 1 through 2. This is $3.99. Publisher Image Comics. Writer is Doug Wagner. Artist is Daniel Hillard. Colorist is Michael Madsen. Or is it Michelle Madsen?
I think it's
Michelle Madsen. Okay. Letterer is Ed Dukeshire. Genre horror comedy. Definitely comedy. Age rating. This is definitely mature teen to mature. So, okay. Released April 2nd through May 14th, 2025. What it's about. Renee Bathory has just been accepted into New York City's most prestigious fashion school. Her designs are daring, edgy, and singular, and made of human flesh. Did we forget to mention Renee's the serial killer who simply wants to be a fashion designer instead? Stupid, pesky, murderous urges.
We picked this one as a recommended book by our regular podcast viewer, Joey, who was also one of the workers at John's and my local comic shop. He thought that Chris here would really like it. Now, myself, it just feels like a really schlocky, cheesy, D-grade horror story, but I guess that's supposed to be the point. The cover here was interesting. I like the story art, but it's not the same kind of art as what's on this cover, in my opinion. Chris was mentioning that this cover reminded him of early Tradmore, and I just wasn't seeing it. I see even less of that in the story pages. I see more of a style akin to Clayton Henry and Joe Eisma rather than more, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. That being said, the story concept is meh for me. Some good pages of art in here, but just not enough for me to read beyond issue number 1. Chris, your thoughts?
So I thought this was really well written. I thought it was very intelligent. Just a really cool story. The art again reminded me of early Tradmore. Big fan of Tradmore's early art. Kind of iffy on his current style, but you know, it is what it is. Lots of blood and gore in this one, and cynical humor. If you're a fan of movies like Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and like Dexter, stuff like that, I think you're really gonna like this one. So,
okay. Let's see what I had here. Let's share some of the artwork for it first. This is some of the art that's for the book. Again, Daniel Hilliard is the art with colors by Michelle Madsen. There's a certain little bit of, like I said, it reminds me more of Joe Eisma from Morning Glories. I don't know if you're familiar with that series.
I'm very familiar with Joe's, yes, and Morning Glories. Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't see it. All I see, like when I see this man, that's all I see is trad. I can't help it. Like,
Lord. Okay.
especially in his women.
Okay. Let's see here.
I think Joe had a more natural style, and this is very it's quite stylized art.
hmm. I mean, it looks good for what it is.
It is. The coloring is fantastic. I mean, this is just an A+ book. It really is.
Yeah.
I think this is one of Image's better titles, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. I'm going to stop the screen real quick. And John's back again.
Alrighty.
I want to share some stuff, but I got to see if I can. If this stupid thing will let me. Let's see, share screen. Okay, where is that? It won't. It won't move up any bigger than that.
Yeah, but that's a good example of Joe Eisman's work.
Yeah, very similar to me. The only difference is like he does a better, more realistic looking nose. But,
yeah, I just see Joe's artwork as more, I guess, more realistic, more natural.
Mm-hmm. And then there was Clayton Henry. Stop doing that, you stupid.
And let us know in the comments what you think. When you look at the artwork for, I was a design school serial killer. Let us know what you think. Does that look like Tradmore to you? Does it look like Joe Eisma? Does it look like someone else?
I think this is Eisma too.
This is.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be, if Michelle Madsen had colored this, I think it would look very similar. Right. There's just certain ways it looks to me, but I'm trying to find the other one. I know I'm going to show your stuff for Trad as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get this thing to present because there's just too many screens between what you shared and what I've got.
Oh, you need me to get rid of something?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
That's some of Clayton's work.
I can see a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the backgrounds for the classrooms
Mm-hmm.
in the schools, and that's another reason why I was thinking Morning Glories, because they look very similar in the styles of how they did the backgrounds.
Right.
So that's what I was thinking. Okay, let's see. Now you want me to share some of this is Chad's.
This is Trad actually on Morning Glories.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can see in the neck, and particularly the eyes.
The way they do the eyes for the eyelashes are very similar. Yes.
And the neck for the women, and just like the angularness of the artwork.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see what you're talking about. Again, this is Morning Glories for Trad.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. This, not so much. Because this is more his weirder style of more modern.
This is very stylized, but again, in the eyes, for the women, I feel like it's pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I can see it a little bit now more from what you're saying. All right. I think we're both right. There's a little bit of all of it in there.
Right. Yeah. And everybody's going to see something different.
How about you, John? What do you see? Or what did you see in the similarities, if any?
Well, I've been trying to. I'm unfortunately on my phone, so I've been trying to make my screen bigger, and it finally decided to do it. So I only really got a good look at that last little bit of art.
All right. Well, we'll share another one here. We'll go back to them because I haven't closed them off. That's trad.
Yeah.
On Morning Glories.
And that's trad again on Morning Glories. Now I'm going to have to go back and present. This is Joe Eisma, who is the actual creator for Morning Glories. Okay. Now I gotta present. It wants to do too many things. There we go. And there's the actual artwork from the comic that we're reviewing.
Okay.
So which one? So do you think it's more reminiscent of Trad or Joe, or maybe just all of them?
I think there's some of both.
Okay. All right. So
But
anyway.
you know, the angularness of the face and the lips and just the artwork in general, it just tried more to me.
All right, now take all those things off so I can work this thing.
I think you have to take them off, maybe. Oh no, I have to remove them. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So anyway, you gave it a 4 or 4.5 or what?
I give it a solid 4.
Okay, you give it a 4. I give it a 3.5.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next one, which is called FATL, also known as Flynn's Alien Termination and Logistics. It's an original graphic novel that was $25 through a Kickstarter campaign for Sweet Comics. Writer Clint Stoker, artist Charlie Snoggins, color by Charlie Snoggins, Fresher Luke, and William Valet. Lettering by Eric Weathers. Genre science fiction. Age rating teen plus. I can't remember when this was released, but it was years ago. But it was over a year late past the campaign due to Snoggins' child having health problems and being hospitalized, if I remember correctly.
I'm sorry, before you get into what it's about, like, can everybody agree that if Clerks, the creator of Clerks,
Kevin Smith?
What's his name?
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, thank you. Yes. If Kevin Smith were to create a colorist, his name would be Charles Snoggins. Like, Snoggins Buggins.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, like I said, I can't remember why it full why. I know it was because his kid was ill and in the hospital and was very, very sick. But by the time it came out, I just woof. Anyway, what is it about? Flynn's Alien Termination Logistics. A desperate financial situation leads Flynn, alien exterminator, to follow a distress call from a posh planet full of sycophants. When Finn learns that the people's minds have also been invaded, Flynn is stranded and running out of options. He must choose to either save the survivors or escape for himself. If I'm being brutally honest, it took so long for the campaign to fulfill that by the time I received it, I no longer cared about the book.
I mean, that's fair enough, yeah.
And I got it years ago, and I just never read it because I just didn't care. So I finally read it, and now that I've read it, I can't say it's worth the $25 I spent. Snoggins' art is rather messy and over-rendered on the color work. The story is okay, but I wouldn't put Stoker anywhere near my top 100 current comics writers based on this effort. Worse, it's to be continued, but I doubt it will be because of how badly the book was delayed the first time. And again, that is not Snoggins' fault. As I said, his child suffered some sort of major illness and was hospitalized for months. So I mean, it was serious. So I don't blame him. It's just other people probably will. They'll be that petty.
Right.
So if you happen to come across it for a more reasonable price point, about half of that price, then I'd say, yeah, go ahead and buy it. but otherwise, I would say no. But as far as the art, a lot of Snoggin's art just looks too McFarlane-esque for me, which with a lot of the same elements that I don't like about Todd McFarlane's art. Only he's not as clean in his artwork as McFarlane, which makes it worse. But if you like the 90s McFarlane with a much rougher inking style, maybe this will be your book. I don't know. I give it a 3 out of 5. The book doesn't suck, or anything like that. I just wasn't impressed after waiting for so long, I guess.
Right.
Good way to phrase this.
Just not your book.
Yeah. And, again, I want to get to a good page here where you guys can see a little bit more. Because, some of these pages are colored pretty dark, in my opinion. But can you see the McFarlane-ish?
Oh, absolutely. But I like that style. I really kind of dig that style. So I think this book would actually be for me.
Yes. I figured that's what you would say.
Yeah. I really dig that style. So
yeah. And when I get to it, I'm gonna find something that really speaks to the McFarlane in it.
And I have to say, as far as the
tell me that isn't a McFarlane-esque.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Except better, because I never liked McFarlane's faces.
Mm-hmm.
And I like his faces a lot better.
Okay, interesting. I think he's a lot sloppier in his inking than Todd is, though.
Oh yeah, but I can forgive that. But his faces are a lot better than Todd's. Never cared for Todd's faces, and I have to say the physical just look of the book itself, the pages, it's a nice looking book.
Oh yeah.
It's nice slick paper. It's a good chunky thick book. So,
yeah. Well, guess what? You're probably gonna end up owning it soon.
That's funny.
Yeah, but we'll see. But anyway, I just wasn't really feeling it. I thought I would, because I was interested in it when it was first coming. When the campaign was, I was pretty excited, but sometimes that's what happens,
Right.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on with the next one. And that's Galaxy of Madness number 10. The final issue of the series for $4.99. Publisher Mad K Studios, writer Magdalene DiSaggio. Michael Avon does the cover. Victor Santos does interiors. Colorist Taki Soma. Letterer Morgan Martinez. Editor James B. Emick. Science fiction action adventure. Released June 4th, 2025. What is it about? Vigil is finally confronting the man she once saw as her father. Will this bring her the catharsis that she's been hunting down for, or will she survive this mind-blowing and mind-bending showdown? Find out in the jaw-dropping final issue of Galaxy of Madness.
Galaxy of Madness.
That's so loud, dude. You gotta turn that thing down.
All right, better.
Anyway, my response was, well, I'm glad that's over and done with. Thank goodness. I really lost interest in this title several issues back. I've mentioned that every time we review a new issue. The art by Santos was fine. It's not Avon Omi, but it's okay. But the story just sort of moseyed along, taking its own sweet time to get to some semblance of a point, and I'm not really sure it ever got there. It's far too pseudo-existentialist, and it dragged on for at least 2 to 3 issues longer than it needed to, in my opinion. And it also felt like DiSaggio was writing some sort of personal manifesto in this series, trying to work their own headspace out and figure out their personal history as the character of Vigil. And maybe that's why I lost interest, because I don't care to read about Mags DiSaggio. I want a character that has their own identity, as it were. So I give this final issue 2 stars, and I'll give the overall series 3 stars. And I'll show some of the art. The art's okay.
Yeah, but it's not Avon Oming, so.
No, it's not. And I puked out and came out of another person's body, and there's multiple versions of me, and I'm gonna fight myself. And okay, whatever, you know. Yeah, that's kind of like, you know. And at the end of the thing, yes, actually, everything was a dream, and you aren't the one in charge. I am. Okay, whatever. You know? So, you know, like I said, it just yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, moving on to Shudder number 22. This is gonna be a fast one. $6.99. Publisher Warrant Publishing. Writers Don Glutt, Bambos, Giorgio, Carlos Lamani, Kev Ferrara, and Artie Godwin. Artist Nick Peliquo. Zantos Zabalos, Carlos Lamani, Michael Bergvist, Rodel Nura, Mansiar Damon, and Kev Ferrara. Cover, which is the only thing that's really great about this book, is by Frank Frazetta. And we're going to get back to this in just a second. Rich Sell and Don Glutt for your editors. Genre horror anthology, rating Teen Plus. Released June 4th, 2025. It's the usual gang of creators for this mag, doing their usual 7 stories and 50 pages. I'm not going to list everything like I usually used to because of time restraints. Nothing really stood out. And I was not a fan of the story that they made based off of Frazetta's work, and I'll show you that in a minute. Not only was Peliquo's art so way off from the quality of Frazetta, which, well, that's, you're not going to match Frazetta anyway. But I mean, looks like the quality of a 5-year-old Frazetta. I'm not happy with this art. You'll see what I mean. I mean, it's not that it's bad. It just, compared to Frazetta, you're going to be like, what the heck?
Right.
And there are many artists out there who can emulate the Frazetta look, who aren't working, who could have done that story visually better. The other stories are just fairly middling. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 because it's you know, pretty average book. But tell me that doesn't look like a grade schooler droid.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, a junior high school, not grade school.
No, you can see the talent there. It's just, yeah, it's just not Frazetta.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not talented. It's just compared to Frazetta, no. It's just. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I like the guy's work normally, but if you're gonna do Frazetta, get me somebody who looks like Frazetta. You know, that's all I'm saying. But I guess I'm being fussy this week. I don't know.
Bad, Raven. Bad.
John, your thoughts?
I mean, it didn't look terrible. I mean, I'm certainly no connoisseur or whatever you would say it, where Frank Frazetta is concerned. So I don't know. I mean, it didn't look terrible. Okay. I guess that's the best thing I can say about it.
All right. Well, we'll move on then. We're going to let John do a review now.
All right. TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures number 25, $3.99. Publisher IDW Publishing. Writer Eric Burnham. Artist Dan Schoening. Colorist Luis Antonio Delgado. Lettering Ed Dukeshire. Cover artist is Schoening and Delgado, which you're seeing right here. Variant covers by Corey Lewis and Ciro Nieli. Editor Thea Chuck. Genre action adventure superhero. Release date May 28th, 2025. Rating all ages. What it's about. With their latest attempt to repair the dimensional portal resulting in catastrophic failure, Krang and Hobb decide the best way to achieve their ends, freeing both Shredder and the Pantheon, is to steal the portable dimensional window from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the Turtles' lair is both hidden and well defended. Two things that will keep our villainous crew from acquiring the portal in a quick and easy fashion. There's only one solution. Hire another ninja to steal the device for them. Shredder has kept tabs on a formidable ninja who the Turtles have trusted in the past, but can the bad guys talk her into joining their cause? Join us for the return of Lotus Blossom as the Saturday morning adventures continue. So, what I thought, well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. What separates this series from other current series based on animated properties is this. While some other series deviate from their source material, sometimes greatly, I'm looking at you, Silverhawks. This series absolutely emulates its source material, which is the original 1987 cartoon, and even expands on it a bit, and this issue is a great example. Lotus Blossom made her first appearance in season 3 of the show, and makes her first full return in comics here. She only made a few cameos before, as I understand it. And she still has feelings for Leo. Then Burnham and Schoening throw in Taka and Razar from The Secret of the Ooze, which is a nice surprise. Now, Schoening is one of the series' two regular artists, Sarah Meyer being the other. And I have to say, while I prefer Meyer's style, Schoening and Delgado really do emulate the look of the cartoon, particularly the earlier episodes. And this issue is also an example of something else the series does right, in which we've talked about before, the variant covers. Instead of dozens upon dozens of covers, and again, I'm looking at you, Dynamite, this issue has all of 3 covers with the main cover done by the issue's interior artist. And to me, that's how variant covers should be done.
What I think. I agree about the covers, except that one should always be a blank sketch cover. That is where the money is, because that's how collectors can invest in something that eventually can have real value as a one-of-a-kind item once you get it sketched on. But I digress. Not being a huge Turtles fan, I was not familiar with Lotus Blossom or her background. I actually thought that this was an alternate dimension version of April O'Neil turned ninja when I saw the covers. And I would have preferred the design of the character to be closer to the actual cartoon, which I put an example of what her hair looked like from an actual episode of the cartoon that she appeared in. So, but other than that, solid issue. John gave it a 4-star. I gave it a 3-star because, again, I would have preferred the character to look closer to the actual cartoon than the way they designed the hair for the character in the comic.
I thought it was April O'Neil myself, so.
So, yeah. The Marvel and DC Marshlands. Just looking forward to a busy June and July. Okay.
Nice. Very cool.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Let's take a look at some of that artwork. This is some of the pages from the Saturday Morning Adventures 25. This second panel was kind of a weird looking thing with the chair to wrestling with the fur guy. It's like, but you know, it's interesting. Does your copy of the book have that weird color blur in that bottom left panel on the second page there where Shredder is? Or is that something from the scan? John?
I don't remember if my book had it. I actually got this off of online, so I didn't scan it in myself.
Right. I just noticed that and I was like, that looks weird, you know. But it almost looks like that page isn't even fully finished.
Yeah, it does look a little bizarre, yeah.
You know, compared to the other panels, you know, it was just like everything else looks finished. I don't know. That was kind of an odd thing. Okay. And again, she looks kind of like April O'Neil here. If you didn't see the little blue thing for her ponytail in the back, you wouldn't know. You know?
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I would have preferred a little different hairstyle design for her. The other thing I didn't like was all the breaking of the panel borders with the figures. Just didn't feel like that was necessary on some of them. I don't know. A lot of artists don't like breaking the tangents anyway, so that's probably just me being that way about it. But
yeah, it doesn't bother me so much.
You know. I mean, they do. I do like the look on his face. He's determined. All of a sudden, oops! Now I'm scared. So, alrighty, our next book. Or actually, these are the covers.
Yeah.
First one is by Corey Lewis, and the second one is by Ciro Miele.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. Those are shit covers. You can do better, IDW. We want Kristen Keeley, a.k.a. Shell Street. Go hire her. This is who we want drawing turtles. We now return to our normal reviewing schedule. And for those who don't know, Kristen is a personal friend of John's and mine, and she works in our local comic shop. And it's like her dream job. And she's been getting a lot of stuff for like fan clubs and like fanzines and stuff to be hired to do covers like these, like this poster that's Leo crashing through the window. That's actually a print you can get from a certain Turtles fan club now if you sign up and get the booklet from them. So I was like, yeah, there are little things like that. It's like she's more than good enough to be doing Turtles covers for IDW. You know, what do you think about that, Chris?
Oh, I agree 100%. She's definitely got some talent going on there. Is that her piece to the right as well?
Mm-hmm.
The far right?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, she's definitely got some talent. Needs to be, and she's not a working professional.
Not really, no.
Oh wow. Okay.
Semi-professional. I mean, she does get paying work, but it's not like any major publishers have picked her up yet.
Well, if she wants a portfolio review, I know a guy.
Yeah. I'll talk about that after the show. Okay.
Okay.
Whoops. We got, I don't know why that's like that, but there you go.
All right. Venom Original Sin #1, $6.99. Publisher Marvel. Writer Steve Orlando. Artist Scott Koblish and Matt Horak. Colors Yen Nitro. Lettering Travis Lanham. Cover artist Clayton Crane. Editor Jordan D. White. Genre action adventure superhero. Release date May 28th, 2025. Rating Teen Plus. What it's about. Eddie Brock had become the King in Black with power all over symbiote kind through space and time. Could you blame him for wanting to use that power to go back to the time when Peter Parker wore the symbiote and fix a terrible moment in his past? Unfortunately, one small change can make ripples that can destroy a world, and Eddie needs to use his great power to put right what he put wrong. So, you probably know, Venom is my favorite Marvel character, and like one of my favorite comic characters in general. And I specifically mean the Eddie Brock Venom, as of course others have hosted the symbiote as well. But lately Venom has gotten big, what with King in Black and all. And now, granted, I have some catching up to do, but this issue features so many different Eddies that I have no idea where they all came from. And that, to me, is the thing about multiverses, that there are so many timelines and so many different versions of the same characters that it can all become very confusing. And that's what this issue is to me, confusing. The artwork, I think, is okay. I don't think it's great. No, it's terrible. But this is actually the print version of the digital Original Sin Infinity comic from 2024, which was meant to be read on phones and other electronic devices, which explains the layout of the panels. But the story is really the issue. It goes in a lot of directions, but ultimately feels directionless. And at 51 pages, I just felt it's too long, and I don't think that length is justified. The way I see it, when the best part of a 51-page Venom comic is a 1.5-page cameo from Beast and Wonder Man, that's not good. And I gave it a two stars.
And here's some of the artwork. Yeah, it kind of feels like it's not as tightly drawn because they're looking at it for being for digital and on a computer, small phones and stuff like that. Koblish is usually a much more refined illustrator than this, it seems like to me. Not that the artwork looks bad, it just looks more like a I don't know.
To me, it's inconsistent.
Yeah,
especially with the coloring.
Yeah.
It's very inconsistent.
Yes, I agree with that assessment. Here's the Beast and Wonder Man thing he was talking about. And when I first saw this, I was like, okay. I almost thought he was trying to emulate George Perez a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I could see that.
So I was like, okay. It was like, all right. Yeah. But I don't really care for this thing against Jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern hits upside the head with a cattle prod, apparently. And, apparently the cattle prod did enough to damage the outer symbiote skin. But he's like, you got to do better than that, I'm like, okay, whatever. It was just, I don't know. It is what it is. Okay, our next book is We Are Scarlet Twilight, Countdown to Cobalt Crisis #0. Publisher, creator Benjamin Morse. Genre, science, superhero, action adventure, rating Teen Plus, released April 2025. Even though it says November 2024, I got mine in April 2025. I think there was a delay in the printing with all this weird stuff going on with the tariffs and stuff. Anyway, what's it about? Morse is doing his own ersatz versions of classic Golden and Silver Age characters and doing an homage to that era while also doing an homage to DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's the best way I can describe it. What do I think of it? Since the characters are clearly homage and derivative, they are Morse's own take on them and they are his own things, but they're also clearly, it's like that's that character, this is that character,
Right.
So it's how closely he's going to fall into following the Crisis story directly remains to be seen. his art's really nice if you like classic comics with the golden and silver age characters like Silver Streak and Airboy and Super Wizard and stuff like that, then you should enjoy this book. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Let's take a quick look at some of the artwork here.
Oh, I dig that.
Yeah, and this is just one of them, but kind of going to battle with that. But I mean, this is called the Red Roadster, and that's the Silver Streak knockoff. And it's pretty obvious. More Captain Lancet character of Earth Delta 86. So it's like he's jumping around from galaxy or from universe to universe for different characters. And again, that's clearly, gee, are we emulating Frank Miller much?
Just a wee bit.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's his own version. It's not exactly, but
Right.
but then he jumps into the next art style. And the fact that he can jump and do all these different art styles is good. Makes the book more interesting and more entertaining to read. Even though you can certainly see a little bit more Frank Miller in it. Some of the faces look like Frank Miller a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Or what's his name? Shaken is another one of the influences possibly. But I'm trying to find the Yep, your kitty's just having a purple cow, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then this is him trying to do his versions of
Alex Ross.
Yeah, I was going to say Alex Ross.
Yep, I can definitely see it.
And it looks good, from what they are. Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to see where he takes this for the rest of the way. He has a character named Stardust, which is like the Space Wizard character. So there's quite a bit of stuff.
Definitely digging the artwork.
Yeah, so it's worth it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Okay, we've got one more for John here.
All right. What if Donald Duck became Iron Man? $4.99. Publisher Marvel. Writers Steve Bailing on the plot, Luca Barberi the script. Artists are Donald Safridi on pencils and inks with Lucio Rubidati on colors. Lettering Laura Tartaglia. Cover artists are Safridi and Rubidati, which you see here. We have variant covers by Scotty Young, Mark Brooks, Dan Panosian, and Phil Noto. Editor Mark Panizia, genre superhero comedy, release date May 28, 2025. Rating all ages. So what it's about, from fowl to shellhead, or dare I say it, eggshell head,
But
he's a duck. Anyway, I digress. Inspired by the very first appearance of Iron Man in Tales of Suspense number 39, Donald Duck finds himself in the clutches of the Beagle Boys, forced to build a machine designed to break into his Uncle Scrooge's money bin. But Donald has other plans and builds the ultimate suit of armor. Can the fearless fowl foil the plans of the Beagle Boys and make it to his date with Daisy Duck?
And can they please stop with the alliteration? Go ahead.
So while I have all of the Marvel Disney What If stories, this is the first one I've actually gotten around to reading. And I think it's a fun take on the Iron Man origin. The jungles of Vietnam are exchanged for the jungle that is Gyro Gearloose's yard. And I love that Gyro invented the armor for the sole purpose of doing yard work, because why not? The Beagle Boys are hilarious, and I must say that I find the armor very cool. And just wait till you see what it does. The story and art are quite engaging, and I like that they included a page of Safridi's sketches as well. I wouldn't mind if more books, especially more all ages books, had that. So overall, I thought this was a very fun read.
I imagine that my friend Kevin Cleedy loves this. For those who don't know, Kevin was the one who originally commissioned the Wolverduck sketch I did for me nearly 30 years ago as a gag gift, and he is a huge Iron Man fan, so I know this is his alley. This, of course, is the Brooks cover, and I'll go back real quick here and revisit the Panosian cover, and you see the boots, the way the feet are done. That's the one thing I really don't care for, because the boots should look like webbed feet because he's got webbed feet.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And that's I wish they had done that right. That would have been the one thing I would have said, hey, that needs to be corrected. But other than that, fairly well done product. John, you gave it a 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised you didn't give it a little bit higher score, to be honest. I did not score it because I didn't look at it all, but based on what I see, probably 3.5. And again, here's the interior art. I'm not really keen. I think the coloring's a little bit weak on this, but what do you think, Chris?
I think the coloring fits the art style, I guess. I mean, well, no, not really, because this definitely could have gone for more of a cell shaded more than it did. And I don't know. I think the art kind of falls flat for me, but
yeah. But I do like his rake that comes out of his back. And then it's like, let's spank him with the rake. It looks like a giant spank. So that does look cool,
Yep.
Okay, that's all of our reviews for tonight. Tomorrow night, we'll be redoing retro science fiction with the 1954 classic science fiction film Devil Girl from Mars. Oh no, the Martian will want Earthmen so as to repopulate their planet. Whatever will happen.
yeah. Has anybody watched this besides me?
Not yet. I haven't, for kind of obvious reasons.
Yeah, let me tell you that has nothing to do with the plot.
I know. I just figured, what the heck? I'm just. But anyway, we'll get into it. We review it.
Yeah.
But
tune in tomorrow for the scintillating review.
You can see he's already going to give us a low review tomorrow. You gotta quit giving away the stuff, dude. Oh well, that's fine. By the way, Chris has got his office back.
I do.
Cool. See,
he's got his spreader in the back there.
Yeah, he hasn't got everything up and ready, but he's at least he's got some privacy now.
Right? Yes, I do.
Yeah. So there's that. So anyway, we appreciate you watching as always. And if you have questions or comments about the show, or you want to suggest books or movies for us to review, contact me on Facebook at lewis.brightraven, at Twitter X at lewisbrightrave2. You can see more of my artwork at deviantart.com/brightraven, and more of Chris's art at deviantart.com/fatboy73. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Brightraven, exclusively on YouTube. And if you want to email me, quotheravenlbr72@gmail.com is the preferred address. If I don't get back to you, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. Chris, you are at ghthrowingstones@gmail.com. And this Saturday, you are doing with Throwing Stones at Glass House with David Campiti. And I think it's Laura Sanapo and her husband.
Yes, Marco Santucci.
Marco Santucci.
And yeah, Maria Laura Sanapo, aka Wonder Woman.
Yes. Yes. There's a reason why he calls her that. And it's not entirely wrong, but I would say more like Superwoman from the.
Oh, no. During our interview, she even had the Diana Prince glasses on.
Oh, okay.
So she was 100% Wonder Woman.
I'm just saying, I could see her in the Superwoman costume too.
Yeah.
But oh wow.
she's an ex-professional bodybuilder, John. So
Okay.
and stunningly beautiful.
So anyway, and not a bad artist at all.
No, and they're both fantastic artists. So yeah, and Marco is so nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's who his guests are on Throwing Stones, Glass House Graphics on YouTube on Saturday. So that's what we're doing that. And if you want to reach out to send John get well wishes, DreFigueroa@hotmail.com is the address. All right, folks, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. We'll see you next time. Quoth the Raven. Nevermore.